When a lady born into wealth decides to use her position to oppress those she considers as vassals, her stars realign and the consequences of her actions begin to unfold. Hello again, fellow comrades in the flick, lovely movie balls and silver screen critics. Welcome to Box Office Africa, where we discuss everything Nollywood and motion pictures locally and globally. Today we have yet another interesting movie review, all for your viewing pleasure. It is titled Beauty in the Slum, a movie with a deep lesson, that theme, and a spice of humor. Still dark, I'd say. It tells the story of Mimi, a rich and spoiled brat who feels entitled and irresponsible, especially for her actions and poorly thought out decisions. She projects her anger, inadequacies, and responsibilities on others while blaming them for her numerous indiscretions. Jeremy is played by Iyke, a good-natured stranger who admires Mimi regardless of her many imperfections and rash behavior. He plays the big brother role when Mimi was caught in a web of her transgressions. Mimi is played by Prisma James, a tardy and uncouth dark-skinned beauty who believes the world revolves around her. She could be regarded as cocky, indifferent, and lacking in social skills, especially when relating with people she regards as low and below her class. Lending a word. Mr. Paul is played by Nollywood veteran actor Larry Koldsweat. He is the father to Mimi, a strict disciplinary who never fails to give the former a lesson or two in morals and human relationship. Amara is played by Doris. She is the mother to Mimi. Like her husband, the Victorian actress makes it a point to straighten her uncultured daughter, who makes it a habit to get on people's nerves. Naomi is played by Princess Onyinyechi, a friend and cosmate to Mimi. Sonia is played by Norma Favor, another of Mimi's friend and cosmates. Patience Ume is cast as the old woman whose vulnerabilities was weaponized to show Mimi consequences to being irrational and what follows. Script James Otu. Music Mr. T. Sound Oji Jeremiah Nkem. DOP Chukwemeka Ogbonna. Cinematography Chiejina Obinna Steven. Editor Henry Daddy S. Ugo. Executive Producer Jim Iyke. Director CJ Eziugu. The story is centered around building character and understanding how fickle life can be. It exposes the dangers of not inculcating in a child the need to respect others even when they feel they shouldn't. The plot tries to illustrate the power of the tongue, the futility in vainglory, the beauty of remorse, and finally the power of forgiveness. Mimi, played by Prisma James, was an interesting character. The first time I watched her was in the movie My First Love, a Regina Daniel production. I wasn't sure if I could say she had what it takes to be a good actor then, but in this movie it was a bit different. Though she was still bratty, however, she had the right attitude going into the role. Her expressions were top-notch. So was the exaggeration depicted by her character. Iyke has been playing the role of an undergraduate lover boy for like forever. Just as a vampire who is reliving his past, James' portrayal of Jeremy, a humble stranger and admirer of Mimi, could be regarded as timid and out of character for the usual stoic and overconfident villain we used to know. But again, Jim is a fantastic actor and his sense of humor remains unmatched. I loved watching this veteran bad boy of Nollywood play beside younger actresses like Prisma, who is helping to blossom into the big star she's turning out to be. I only wished it was more audible because Jim is known to speak like a ventriloquist in all his performances. This movie was no exception. Please Jim, a little audibility won't hurt, I guess. Just raise the decibels a bit, sir. Thanks. It was nice seeing Larry Koldsweat. Kudos to Iyke, who by the way was the producer of the flick, for bringing back vets like Larry. Let them smell their flowers while still here with us. His portrayal of Mr. Paul, the no-nonsense pops to Mimi, was not a bad one, though his acting was kinda straight out of bland. Well, I guess you can't teach an old dog some new tricks. Doris, who was cast as Mrs. Amara, mother to Mimi, did not waver, especially in being the typical Nigerian mother who never fails in extending her never-ending moral lessons to unruly kids. I also say thanks to Jim for keeping one of the Nollywood's favorite moms in the game. The characters Naomi, played by Princess Onyinyechi, and Sonia, played by Norma Favor, were not too fantastic. Maybe the few appearances of both characters and the limitations of the roles they were depicting restricted their performances in this movie. But again, their inclusion made the scenes and setting a comprehensive one. CJ Ezeugo, who called the shots in this flick, tried to hold it down, albeit narrowly. A good number of the scenes were unnecessarily long, and the inclusion of some clearly irrelevant, especially the scenes that had Neo, who played Mimi's estranged boyfriend. I had to place my finger to 3x that scene. Overall, I wouldn't call it a bad outing, but I believe there is a very huge room for improvement. This directing gets a B-. I loved the external scenes, the skin tones were good, the greenish vegetation in the school garden scenes looked surrealistic and beautiful. However, I noticed the poor color grading in some of the scenes, like this particular one where Jim had a yellow costume on, then placed on a yellow background. The contrast here was his dark skin, or else he would have been lost in that background. This editing gets a B. The beautiful and very subtle camera movements made the eyes to never get bored. I also love the depth of field, especially for the external scenes. Though some cuts were a bit jagged, I think for YouTube standard, it was generally a respectable outing. The visuals were not perfect, but it came out very good, I must say. For this, I grade an A. Mr. T is an interesting musician, and I think the soundtrack here did justice to the entire scenery. The only sad part here is that in most of the scenes, it was so disruptive that it almost drowned the dialogue. I was struggling to hear what the cast were saying 1 hour plus into the movie, as the soundtrack was so loud for comfort. For this abysmal outing, the sound design gets a D. First ever D awarded to any category in all the reviews we have done so far. Knowing when to draw the lines and stop regarding everyone as mere oxygen breathers is very crucial. Mimi went out of line, and for her many misdeeds, she was taught a very discomforting lesson. It is very human to show a little kindness to people we meet on our way up, because who knows, we might meet them on our way down or in between. Beauty in the Slums is a fairly good movie, shot with a lean cast, catered by good visuals at least for YouTube standards, and a good use of few locations. The movie gets a 3.5 out of 10. Have you watched Beauty in the Slums by Iyke? Did you learn any lesson? Was the plot properly delivered, or was it below your expectations? Let us know what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to share and like this video, as this helps with the YouTube algorithm. Also, visit us on www.boxofficeafrica.online for more insights, movie news, releases, and more. More importantly, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, because we'd love to have you as part of our growing community of movie lovers and buffs. Till next time, party people. Ciao.